Hello, Modi sir. I didn't notice you joined. Hi, hello sir. How are you?
Hello, ma'am. Hello. Yeah, good evening, respected everyone. And
Modi
dear all.
sir. We do have two Modi sir.
Yeah.
All honorable guests, including the patrons, advisors, the chairperson of the FDP Come workshop, resource person of today's session, Dr. Hina Thanki, Gujarat Technological University, Gujarat, the entire team of KG College of Arts and Science, Coimbatore, Tamil Nadu, and the entire team of Inspira Research Association, Jaipur, and majority of participants who have joined the program. I heartily welcome you all on the second day of this 7 days faculty development program cum workshop on research methodology. I hope you have enriched on yesterday by excellent delivery of session by Professor Namita Rajput from University of Delhi. And now I take this opportunity to introduce our today's resource person, Dr. Hina Thanki, faculty member, MBA program, Gujarat Technological University, Shri Jairam Bhai Patel Institute of Business Management and Computer Applications, Gujarat, for the topic Taxonomy of Literature Review and Reference Management through Mendeley. Dr. Hina Thanki is a faculty member for MBA program at Gujarat Technological Universities. Before joining the academic and research sector, she worked at the ICICI Prudential Limited, India's leading insurance provider. She has been extensively working in teaching, training, and research domain for over a decade and specializes in financial management, behavioral finance, research methodology, entrepreneurship and ethics, and corporate governance. To date, she has guided more than 100 students for their master's, dissertation, research projects, and trained more than 2,500 students and faculties on data analysis using various statistical softwares. Dr. Hina also works closely with other reputed business schools and universities such as BK School of Business Management, KS School of Business Management, Gujarat University, Gujarat Technological University, and Gujarat Forensic Science University, to name a few, and offers data analytics consulting services to various organizations for their export-import businesses. She has authored a book titled UGC Net Management, published by Reliable Publishers, Ahmedabad. Her research papers are published and presented at various national and international level journals and conferences. Some of her research work has been published in top-ranked reputed journals of globally acclaimed ranking lists such as Australian Business Dean's Council, ABDC. She has won many awards for her research work. So, ma'am, it is our pleasure to have you in this mega event. We all are eagerly waiting, as the principal ma'am said, we really are eagerly waiting to listen to today's topic, because, the topic is really useful for all the researchers and faculties for writing a research paper, because references are the, main theme of the of a research paper. Without references, the research paper cannot be completed. So I would like to invite Dr. Hina Thanki ma'am to start the session, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am. Please unmute.
Thank you, Ravi sir. Thank you for the lovely introduction. Now I myself is eager to listen to from my side.
Thank you. You deserve it, ma'am. You deserve it.
So let me, without wasting much of the time, let me start the presentation, as the topic is a little lengthy. So let us quickly jump on the topic. So I hope my screen is visible to you.
Yeah. Ma'am, it's visible. You can make it a slideshow.
Yeah, sure. Doing that.
Yeah. Now it's okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So today, I'm gonna talk on one of my very favorite topic, that is art and science of literature review and taxonomy of literature review. So first we'll be talking about the taxonomy of literature review, and then we'll be shifting to reference management using Mendeley. The picture tells a true story of a researcher, isn't it? That we keep on reading and updating. And before we start, I would like to express my gratitude to Inspira and KG College for making this happen, allowing me to discuss my views on literature review and reference to the, learned audience who are aspiring to be a researcher or are a researcher or a research scholar. So thank you all for participating and joining me and investing your 2 hours of time over here with me. So before we start, actually, I would like to show you at least one of the document and then we start discussing on it. So as a participant, what is your task is, you just need to go through this paper with me. And can you see the research paper on the screen or you cannot see it?
Yeah, document 1 and document 2 are showing.
No, okay. Then let me, share my entire screen.
Yes, yeah. The entire screen is not.
Yes, otherwise what will happen is you will not. Can you see it now?
Yes, ma'am. Now it's visible.
Yes. Thank you. So you can just, go through the paper and let me know where you can see the citation or, literature being used. Wherever you see the blue citation in, into the bracket, it means it is some literature. So you just carefully observe the sections where it is being used. And then, so, could you tell me that where did you see the, literature review? Was it only in the chapter literature review or it was somewhere else also? You can type in the chat box.
Yeah, participants can unmute also. You can unmute and you can answer through Hina ma'am.
See, if it will be participative, you'll enjoy and learn more.
Yeah. They can unmute and they can answer.
So in the modern day writing, you don't have literature review only restricted to the literature review heading. From the
May I speak?
Yes, sure, please.
The lines that are shown in the introduction are also literature review. That shows that you have collected data from there. You have cited the data. That is also literature review. And in reference, we give the reference from where we have collected the data.
Okay, thank you. So nice of you. Yes. So in modern writing, literature review is not just a chapter. It is much more than a chapter. And we start introduction. In introduction also, we quote some others' work. We then have the literature review as a segment. Then we also, when we need to develop the hypothesis, we need literature review. When we are finalizing the research design, why you selected certain instrument, why you selected certain scale or construct, why you selected certain analysis technique, you need to back it by literature. When you are writing your conclusion or discussion, again, you need to come to the literature that your argument or your points are supporting the past literature or not supporting the past literature. So LR is not just a chapter. Entire research, entire thesis, entire research is equal to literature review. Without, research is a field where you cannot make a single statement without having a back to it. What is the proof? What is the reason that why you are telling this? So LR is the heart of research, and the stronger your LR, the stronger will be your research. So let us, come out from the mindset that LR is just a chapter of a thesis where you need to write few pages and it's done. It's not like that. If you want to write a quality research, the research will start, we don't write only, or we don't quote anything only in abstract, because it is not allowed. Otherwise we would have quoted there as well. But in writing an abstract according to new research methodology style, abstract, you are not allowed to quote anyone. It should be your own representation on your research. Otherwise, starting from introduction till the end, we back our argument with other literature. We support our argument with other literature. So we must get the idea that LR is not just a chapter, but LR is more than a chapter, and it is required on every phase of your research. Now, okay, to the theory, we'll quickly go. That LR is a survey of an important article, books, or other sources pertaining to your research topic. Most of you are research scholars, we are aware that LR is anything from where you get some source related to your research. You can say that it was a part of my LR. Okay. Conducting a LR is a means of demonstrating an author's knowledge about a particular field of study, including vocabulary, theories, key variables, and phenomena, and its method and history. So, I am on some of the reviewer board as well. And generally, when I got training to be how to be an effective reviewer, I was trained that first check the references, that what kind of literature a person has read to write the research paper. And if you don't find a very qualitative or quality research reference there, the research is not so good. So that is how your research is being judged, based on the literature you have studied to prepare your research. So that is why also literature, if you have done strong literature, if you have, referred to a very good quality research paper in your research will be good, and it will be leaving a very good impact on the reviewers also, because whatever we're writing, our end goal is to get it published as well. So objective of performing LR is to place the work in a context, to describe the relationship of each work with other work, identify the new works or new ways where there is a gap. Because whenever, if you are preparing for a PhD proposal, or if you are preparing for a research paper, you need to tell that what is the gap, and you are filling that gap. So if you don't do literature review in a very systematic way, in a a detailed way, you'll fail to identify a new or novel gaps. And let me be frank that the journals, if you are targeting at a high-end journals, these journals only accept papers if they have novelty. That means if you are bringing to the table something very new. And LR also helps to resolve the contradictory previous study. You might be studying, or you might be coming through 2-3 different research in your field where both of them are arguing in a different way. But if you do go a little bit in a detail, if you try to look at from a different context, you will see that why the difference and how the difference is. Okay. And you have to justify as well. So for example, talking about my research area is in financial risk tolerance, So when I was studying the paper or research on European and, Western Asian countries, they were all concluding that risk taking increases when you get married. Okay. So I thought, okay, this should be the conclusion, or this should be the argument. When I was checking the Asian context, they were all arguing that when you get married, the risk decreases, your risk taking capability decreases. And I really got confused that how it can be. Too many researchers are claiming that when you get married, your risk taking increases, whereas another group or another school says that with equally good argument that the risk taking decreases when you get married. But then, I had to take a social context to it, that looking at the US context or, UK context to the research, there, both the spouses are earning. And when you, get married, your income doubles. And talking about the Indian context, what happens in India? Majority of Indian, they have a single earning member. So husband earn, wife is dependent on them. Even the parents are dependent on the husband. Their kids will be dependent. So when the person get married, his responsibility increases. And that is why his risk tolerance in Asian context and Indian context decreases. So if you can go little detail in LR, you'll be able to solve the contradictory previous study as well. And then you will be able to place that if I'm doing a research from an Indian context, my hypothesis should be this. I should not adopt a UK or US based hypothesis because it is not culturally context. So some of the objectives to prepare our LR is identify the area of prior research to prevent the duplication of the effort, point the way in fulfilling a need for additional research, because that is how you need to propose in your research paper or thesis that why there is a need of research. You have to highlight your why so strongly that a research paper or proposal is accepted. And locate your own research within the context of existing literature. Okay. Now today, the thing which we would like to discuss in detail is a taxonomy of literature review. So Cooper, Schindler and Cooper, you must have heard the name. Okay, so Cooper has his books also on a business research. Plus, he was a person who has done, research in the field of research itself. Okay, how to do research. His research topic was how to do research. And then he developed in late 90s, he developed taxonomy of literature review. That means what are the different ways or what are the factors which you should consider while writing your literature review. And today we'll be discussing this. So he has provided 6 factors or 6 points to consider before writing a literature review. And that is focus, goal, perspective, coverage, organization, and audience. So talking about a focus, so what could be or what should be the focus of writing a LR? 90% of the literature which you see in a current thesis, they are only based on outcomes. So that, what a researcher does, they take one line or one small para and write that XYZ in 2006 did research on so and so and that found this. Then one research paper over. Then they go to other research paper, write the same line with the conclusion. They go with the third research paper. Okay. How many of you agree that this is the way you have seen most of the research papers or most of the research drawing? You can please quickly type in a chat box. Okay, most of this is literature review. So Cooper says that it should not be only, okay, outcome is one of the important and most considered point, but it should not only based on the outcome. If your LR only focus on outcome, you will miss on some of the important point which can improve your research. So he says that, this all should be a part of your focus of your literature review. That is research outcome, one of the most important, that what was the outcome. Okay. The second, he says that research method. What research methods were used to get that outcome? So whether it was a qualitative, quantitative, or experimental research, what kind of instrument, what duration was it? Then he also adds on that what theories were taken as a base. Because in a management research or in any field, if you are doing any research, you must be taking some theory base. Okay. So what theories they were used in a past research? So you must also discuss about it and talk about it in your LR. What are the practice or applications of this area? Generally in a social science area, this part is little missing because on almost all these, concept might not be having the practical applications, but in engineering and in, mathematics field and all, statistics field and all, the research, they are researching on improving a model or developing a new model, etc. So at that time, they can also talk on what are the applications of the current research and where they are missing. And then they can identify a gap that there they would like to footed. So Cooper says that the LR should be based on all this: research outcomes, research method, theories, and practice or application. This will then give you a complete idea of how to carry out your work. Okay, is the focus clear? Can you move ahead? So next is a goal. So goal is what an author wants to achieve. So it means that by the end of literature review, what we want to prove or what we want to accomplish. And in the goal point, we can write our literature review in a two-way: integration and a criticism way. So 90% of the research, they use integration way. And integration way is to be used when you are not proposing a new theory. You know, when you want to develop a new model or a new theory, if you are doing a theory building work, then the criticism LR used. When you are not, proposing your model or your own theory, at that time, integration model should be used. And integration model is, have you generalized the research? So you must have read 15, 20 research, 80 research, 100 research. So then have you, distinguished each result and have you generalized it, that what majority of researchers are saying? Have you tried to resolve the conflict? So it should not be written in such a way that every research is independent research. Generalized research means you write a research in such a way that at the end of the LR writing, you can then give your concluding remark that what the past literature is talking about. Whereas in a criticism based, yes, any question? Whereas in a criticism based research, we don't write on a generalized method. A criticism based method is used when we want to develop a new model. What should be, or what generally the research used is that we try to highlight what are the problems with the previous methods. Because in the new model development, new theory development, we propose a new theory to solve some other problems which were there in a previous model. So in a theory development LR, we write LR in a critical way, that we identify all the past research and we say that there is a problem with this, there is a problem with this, there is a problem with this. Any management student over here, or they must have studied a model called MM, that is Modigliani and Miller. They were the professor. They have got a nickname called Professor of Critics. So what they were doing is they will silently observe what other finance researchers are doing. Once they develop their model, they'll come with the criticism on their model, and then they'll propose their theory. So criticism LR works very good when you want to propose your model or your theory. At that time, you are more interested in telling the audience that, see, this is the problem with this research. This is the problem with this research. This is the problem with this research. And that is why we are proposing a new method which might be overcoming all these problems. So the next third point is perspective. Neutral perspective and espousal of position. So he, Cooper says that we should write a neutral representation in our research. That means we should be honest and we should be writing the literature review in a neutral perspective. Means we are also quoting the papers which are agreeing to our view. We should also be quoting the papers which are not agreeing to our point. But that is what is not happening in current research. People are doing espousal of positions. Okay, whether you answer or not, but you will agree to me that, when people try to write research and when they want to prove something, what they'll do, they'll find all this research paper which are claiming the way they want to. They will not quote all the papers which are against their view. They'll only show a rosy picture, or what, they'll only show a literature which are favoring that view. They'll not write the view, or they'll not write, or they'll not quote the papers which are against, or which are not accepting the view which they are proposing. Do you audience agree with me that you have seen that this is happening? You can please reply in a chat box. If you will be active, it will be helpful to me to understand. So, but that is what is the mistake we did. If you are targeting a good journal, and if you write a espousal position research, it will be a problem, because you will get, when I started my journey back, I was also thinking that way. Before 10 years, I wrote the first research paper, and being enthused, I gave it to IIM professor who is my mentor now. I am Ahmedabad Professor Pramod Verma, to review it, that what I have written. And he was a sheer researcher. For a research paper of mine, which was 5-page long, he gave me a research comment 6-page long. And this was all written that, he took pain to find out that what are the research paper which I have not got in my research. And they were all the research paper which were not agreeing to my point. And this was a major setback for me. I failed. I did espousal of position. But then he explained me that, being a researcher, you should be the one who would describe both the point and then tell that why you prefer this point, why you are agreeing, why you are not agreeing to A, and why you are agreeing to B. This argument you have to give. So please, take it in mind that now onwards, whenever you write, don't try to be biased in presenting the research. This will not help you to get published in a very reputed journals. So if you are targeting a high quality journals, if you are targeting, or if you want to be a good researcher, be a natural researcher and try to accept the views in favoring your research and, opposing or debating your research as well. Then the coverage, that what should be the coverage of literature review, So for example, if you are talking, or if you are doing a literature on a satisfaction, so satisfaction was first taught in 1870 by Oliver. Okay, so should I, count, or should I put every research there? Okay, so LR coverage, the Cooper says that there are 4 ways to write a literature review. Exhaustive means you enter every research which was done in your field. Second, he says that exhaustive with selective citation. So you take an exhaustive list, but out of it you narrow it down to your area. So for example, if I'm doing a research on satisfaction, but satisfaction in the field of insurance, then I'll be limiting all the research is on satisfaction, but with some selective citation. Sometimes it is also based on some of the list, that ABDC list or a Scopus list or a Web of Science. That is all will be coming in the next session, when I'm going to guide you practically that how to implement all this which we discussed practically. Third, he says that we can go for a representative research. That means a few research papers. And then he says that only limited to central or pivotal. And this all has a different role to play. If we are writing for a thesis, it's good to go with an exhaustive, with a selective citation. If we are going for a research paper, it is good to go for a representative researches. And if we are writing an article, then it's good to go for a central or pivotal research rather than representative as well. So it depends on what is your end goal to write a literature review. Now, how the LR should be organized? Should it be historical? Should it be conceptual, or should it be methodological? Okay, so he says that there are 3 ways to write a LR, that is historical, conceptual, and methodological. And you can prefer any, Okay, again, as I mentioned that in the next coming slide, we'll be discussing that how to use this practically. Then moving next, he says that who should be the audience? And based on the audience also your literature review differs. So especially when we talk about thesis and a research paper, our audience is specialized scholar. That means people who know research. These are the people who will be reading our work. So writing a literature review for them is a, we write so many citations, we write footnotes and everything. Okay, but have you seen or have you read some books? Okay, on the books itself also, if you turn the pages, if are there any management okay, there's someone says that can you reteach the coverage, ma'am? Sir, I'm just coming again in detail to coverage that how it should be actually done. Okay, so I hope at that time I'll cover again. Is that fine? So, have you read the books? So in books also, they take so much reference to write the, material, but they don't quote. They don't write like research paper. Not every line has the quotation. So writing a literature review is a different thing if the audience differ. If you are writing for a policymaker or government, and if you write the citation everywhere, they'll not be able to understand what have you written. And if you are taking or if you are talking for a layman, that is, you are talking about a news article. And if you want to quote literature review there, never ever dare to write, the name and brackets and everything. We generalize it. We say that researcher say this, it has been done or it has been said in a past studies. Clear? So as your audience changes, your way to write literature review also changes. So you should be careful. If you're writing for a book, you don't mention, you don't use the citation, you just give a footnote or a reference from where you have taken the concept. You do not acknowledge them just after every sentence. So that is how the literature review should be written. But as of now, we are talking about a research paper. So we are writing our thesis. So we are writing for a specialized scholar, and that is why we write the literature review very detailed, and we write it with citation wherever applicable. Just after the completion of the statement, we write the citations. So any question up till this point? So this is Cooper's taxonomy of literature review on a one slide, So if you want to take a screenshot of it, you can take it so that in future as well, you can have this. Okay. So moving ahead now, till now we discuss what Cooper says that this should be the literature review. Now, I'll be linking my views along with Cooper on guiding you some practical tips and trips how to do literature review. So everything is fine, but where to start is a problem, isn't it? In writing a literature. If you Google it out, there are so many papers pop up. So what should be done? So for a quick start, you can search and you can start with a quality. I always advise to read a quality research paper so that you can, enrich your knowledge and you can get the best out of research because we have a limited time. So how you can quick start? Okay, so first you can take or you can go through any quality journals and you download the research papers and start reading it. Then their reference will help you to get more insight into it. You can use Google Scholar to get some research papers. Nowadays on a ResearchGate, most of the literatures are freely available. You can request them. You can there are some other sources available. And from there, you can prepare your list of literature. Okay. And on a Google Scholar, you can do some, specific search with a keyword, with a time period, then also it will help you to get a good literature review. But my advice and what I generally prefer is I take the exhaustive list of literature from Scopus or Web of Science. You know, if you have access to it, you can type your keyword and download the exhaustive list on your area from Scopus and Web of Science, and so that you don't miss out on any important literature review on your area, and then you can then, you know, eliminate or reduce the list. Okay. So again, if you download it from Scopus, you know, you will be getting 1,000 research paper, 2,000 research paper. Sometimes, you know, it gives 5,000 research paper as well. Okay, so does it mean we need to read 5,000 research paper? We can't. You know, by the time we are done with 5,000 research paper, it has been 10 years, and we then when we complete our you know, PhD or research paper. So how you can, you know, reduce it? So you can start with the exhaustive list, and you can, just a minute. Sorry for the disturbance. Yes. So you can start with a exhaustive list, and then how to reduce. So reduced based on your criteria. Okay. So what is your criteria in that, you know? So the criteria can be either, if you are writing for a research paper, you are much interested in the latest research work. Okay, so central and pivotal plus the latest work. So if you are writing for a research paper, you must include the latest 5-year research paper in your citation. And some central work, that is, for example, if you are writing on service quality, and Parshuraman is a person, you know, who has written so much on service quality, so you must acknowledge them. Plus, what is the development in recent 5 to 7 years? That is what should be there in your literature. If you don't write any entire exhaustive, it will work. Okay. Now, if you are writing for a thesis, then it should be little longer. Plus, in that case, you know, you can reduce it based on certain factors. So for example, what I personally use it, I take the database from Scopus, and then I segregate them. And if I'm writing for a category journal, I consider only research paper published in a category journal or above A category journal. If I'm writing for a B category journal, I'll select only the papers which are published on B and above B, not below B. If I'm writing for a C category journal, in that case, I'll consider all A, B, D, C published journals. Okay. If you are targeting based on impact factor of a journal, and if your target is to write for a research paper which are, you know, given impact factor by Thomson Reuters, then you should filter the research based on the impact factors. That I will be, if I want to write in impact factor 2 journal, I should be quoting only research above 2 impact factor. So that is what is a practical thing you have to be, you know, because that is how the journals are looking at. If you write, you know, conference proceeding, if you write this kind of thing, they're not accepting as much. So that is how you have to reduce your, you know, exhaustive list to a list which you can work And if you do all this filtering, you will end up with 100 to 120 literature. And this must be there in your thesis, isn't it? When you are writing for an entire PhD work, 100 to 120, 150 is a general research, which we consider before finalizing our gaps and all. So is this clear? There was one candidate who was having an issue also that on a coverage. So have I made it clear that how you can decide the coverage? So should we go ahead? So before, preparing, directly jumping on writing a research, the first step should be preparing the LR notes. So whenever first you go through the papers and try to prepare your LR notes, and then you prepare. So let me tell you, let me show you that how. Okay. Give me a second. Let me share it with you. So this is what is the table which we currently use to prepare a literature review. Yeah. So it starts with a master serial number, which is a serial number from my Scopus search. Then these are my selected research paper list. Then we start with the author, title of research paper, and then we bifurcate our research into broad category and subcategory. So, that if I'm writing or if I'm reading something on investment, my broad category is investment. But I'm reading a paper which is written on mutual fund. Then my subcategory will be mutual fund. Which country it was studied? Which was the objective of this research paper? What was the research gap they have identified and they have studied? What were their hypotheses? What were the theories they have used in their research? And independent variable, every research has some independent variable. So then we write in independent variable, what were the personal level factor, what was the economic factor, what was the psychological factor, and what were the other factors they have studied as the independent variable. And same, we write a dependent variable, that what were the factors they have studied which were dependent variable. Then we write what is the research methodology. Then we write what are the instruments, that means whether it was a focus group discussion used for collecting the data, whether it was a QD, that is qualitative descriptive interviews, or whether it was a questionnaire used. If the questionnaire is used, we also write what are the scales used in questionnaire. Then we write what was the sample size they have used. Then we also write what are the tests they have conducted in their research and what were the software they have used. What was the conclusion of this research and what were the limitation of this research? See, many researchers, they don't read also what is the limitation, but believe me, limitation is the one thing which you must read, because whatever is their limitation can be your plus point and you can do a research in eliminating their limitations. So that can give you a ready-made topic for a research. And then we write that out of all the variables which they have taken to study, how many variables were found significant. I might have studied 15 variables, but out of this 15, not all have affected my dependent variable. Only 5-6 have affected my dependent variable. So I'll be writing what were the significant variable and what was the relationship, whether it was a positive or a negative, or non-linear, whatever they have studied, we write this. So this is what is the table which I am using for my literature review, and this is helping us so lot. I am receiving so many thank you note from my research, the students which I'm mentoring, that madam, if we do literature review in this way, we need not to go for the research paper never ever again. And using this literature review only, we are able to develop 5 to 6 research papers. So this is how the LR note should be prepared. Generally, I advocate Excel table, but if people are not comfortable with Excel table, they may use Word file as well. But filtering function of Excel helps a lot. If I want to quote only paper which are done in India for that particular topic, if you are writing literature review for ICSSR project or a government grant project, there we will be more interested in what is Indian literature says rather than the international literature. So if you have done it in Excel, you can just filter it India and you'll get all the LR of India. Now if you want to compare it with India and some other country, is your topic that comparing Indian and UK XYZ services, then you can filter it by India and UK and you'll get all the papers there. So that is how you can use it. So okay, any problem in that preparing the Excel format for LR, or any question do you have in that? If you find me a little bit speedy, then please bear with me, because this is the training which I generally deliver in 7 hours with a practical hands-on experience, but I'm trying to cover for you in 2 hours so that we can take whatever is most important. So how will you organize the information? Now in LR or in your paper, will it be a chronological order? Will it be a thematical order? Will it be a tense and techniques? Whether it be based on major debates or controversy in your field, or probably a combination of this. So that is what I advocate, that you should write your research in a combination of all this, that you should organize your research in a thematic and a trained way. And in that thematic LR, you write chronological way. That means first you talk about an old research and then slowly and steadily you come on a new research. Sure, Vandana, I'll share the format. So this is one example to know that how you can organize your, LR. So if my research topic is impact of socio-economic factor, personality trait, and financial literacy on financial risk tolerance of an investor, how will I, or how would have been I, formatted my LR? So I will be first talking about the literature which are talking about socio-economic factor and my dependent variable, that is financial risk tolerance. Then I'll be talking about my second variable, that is personality trait and financial risk tolerance. Then I'll be talking about financial literacy and financial risk tolerance. And then I'll be also talking about all these 3 factors together if somebody has studied on financial risk tolerance. Then I'll be also be talking about measurement of personality trait, that how personality trait can be measured, how financial literacy can be measured, how financial risk tolerance can be measured. And this may help to stronger or to develop my research methodology, that why I use particularly that measure, that instrument to be surveyed. And at the end of your LR, what you can do is that you can highlight the crux. You can prepare a table, you can, represent in a diagrammatic way, and then you identify a gap, that there is a gap, and then you proposed your model. So at the end of literature review, now when I review the thesis, this is 8 out of 10 in 8 thesis out of 10 thesis, my comments on literature review is that the gap is not written separately and the proposed model is not shown. So that is what is very important to, make sure, so that everybody can understand. They may not be able to understand all your 80 pages of literature review or 100 pages. But if you demonstrate it graphically, that you want to say that this is your dependent variable, this is your independent variable, and that is how they are affecting each other, or what is the relationship. This is my mediating variable, this is my moderating variable, this is my control variable. Then it will be very easy and crystal clear to understand for other person that what you want to say or what you want to study. So that should be always there, be it a research paper or be it a this is at the end of literature review, you must highlight your hypothesis, you must highlight your gaps, and you must highlight your proposed model. Now, how to write, it's fine. Madam, we know all, but how to write? So when you're writing for a thesis, the thesis is always written in a third person language. That means author do not come into picture. In a thesis, never ever it comes that I did this and I did that. Okay, it is always written in a third person. Author did, researcher did. There's no IV sentence coming. Everything is written in a third person language. Now, if you are writing for a research paper, nowadays, previously, before 10-15 years, the research papers were also been written in third person language only. But now, journal are more inclusive. And if you see the research paper from especially Sense Direct and Emerald, they are written in a first person language as well. We did this, we have done this, So in a research paper, both the methods, third person and first person, both are, accepted, but then stick to one style. Don't do khichdi. Okay, that on 2 line you write third person and then you write first person. If you're writing as a first person, write as a first person. If you're writing for a third person, write as a third person. If you are writing a LR for a project or a book, it has to be in a third person language. Again, author do not be a part of writing a book. If it is a self-help developed book, the author becomes the writer, or it writes in a first person. If it is a novel, if somebody is writing a novel and he himself is a character, they write in a first person. But in our research field, research projects and books, they're always written in a third person language. So is it clear how to write a research or LR or any research papers, or what should be the language of your research paper? If it is a thesis, it's a third person. If it's a research paper, third or first person, based on the journal you are targeting. You have to see which type of journal you are targeting. If the target journals write in a first person, you also write in a first person. If the target journal write in a third person, you also write in a third person. Now, how to start writing your LR, or how to start writing your research paper? So in a research paper also, when you are giving an introduction, you must tell how your paper is organized. If you are writing LR as a chapter, then also you must write an overview of a topic. You must write why are you carrying a LR and how your LR is being bifurcated. So how many points it has, how many sub-point it has, what it is discussing. So that you should not just start jumping. Literature review first, second, third. Professor Anil was telling me just that they are just starting writing first literature review, second literature review. There is no generalization. There is no joining of literature. But it should not be like that. First, when you have started writing your LR, you must give an overview that what you are writing and how it is formatted. What are the section in your literature review? And then you prepare, or you have a clear paragraph structure. Sometimes you see in a thesis, if you are working specifically in a thesis, that for a 2-page long, one paragraph is there. You don't know. Or sometimes you see that, every author is a different paragraph. They are writing every author 2-3 line opera, 2-3 line opera, and then they are numbering the LR. So none of the method is good. How it should be then organized. It should be in a paragraph structure, and when you should change the paragraph should be changed when you are changing the argument. Okay. If you are discussing about 2 authors who have said the same thing, then you can combine a para, write about them, and go for a next para when you are discussing some little different argument there. And make sure that subject of your sentence is clear, and do not write too long sentence. When I wrote, one of our research paper got a comment, that madam, your research paper has when initially when my starting day when I used to write and experiment, the reviewer gave me a comment that, madam, your sentence starts from the first line and it ends on the fifth line. Now by the time I read the fifth line, I forget what was I read in first line. You're getting me? So don't write too long sentences. It should be a small. Because sometimes I was of the opinion that if I write long sentence, they'll feel that Hina madam is having so much knowledge. She knows English language and that is why she is creating longer sentence. But it is not working. You should have a small sentence which are reader friendly. But person should be able to understand clearly. Okay, don't assume the knowledge. Don't start using the jargons or acronyms. So when you start using acronyms, you first explain them and you then tell them that this is what the acronyms were. So for example, when we say MF, so for me it is mutual fund, but for you it might be a short form of your friend's name as well. Okay, for someone it should be Mr. Firoz is also MF. Okay, so never assume. First explain it and then go ahead. Be it a research paper or be it a thesis, explain it clearly and then use acronyms. Okay. Be objective and balanced. Don't write just too much that. And sometimes I also have one of my PhD scholar, she was telling me that, madam, 100 pages of LR is enough. Okay, so I told her that don't count your LR by number of pages. It is not necessary. You should be objective. That means you should be achieving your objective and you must be giving detail as well. So for a thesis, we prefer a detailed, longer research literature review. For a research paper, we need crisp literature review. So it depends on what is your objective in writing a LR. Use sign point. Don't write every research as a separate thing. They are not joined anywhere. So you have to join the different literature and give your argument. So you can use the various sign point, that yet XYZ say this, yet another person says like this. However, against that on the similar line. So there are many, you can use thesaurus for getting various sign points. And you use ample of sign points so that when a person is reading your LR, it should look like a story rather than different para coming from here and there. You can use tables to compare the views or summarize at the end of LR to better explain your point of view. Okay. And presenting a LR is an art than a science. Doing a literature review can be a science, but how we are presenting it, how we are doing it is a altogether art, and you have to be artistic. You have to be thought from that angle, that what should be a more reader friendly structure, how you can present in a way that a person do not feel bored while reading your literature review, even though it is a technical. Then moving to the citation. So okay, ma'am, how to conclude 4 line into one? Okay, how to brief that? So I'm not saying that you write 4 line into one, but you can dissect that 4 line into small lines. So you can convert this 4 line sentence in a 2 line and you present it in a better way. Is this the thing same you are asking, Vandana? Or you can unmute and tell me what is actually your concern. Then I can be able to explain you in more detail. So now, you must have seen both of these type of citation in a research paper. Have you seen? Yeah, sure, you please. Vandana, you can, okay. Unmute yourself and tell me your query. Excuse, can I permit Vandana? I don't know that Vandana, can I, permit you or not? But
Vandana ma'am, you can unmute and you can unmute, please. You can unmute and you can answer.
Ma'am, my question is that my guide also told me to brief the lines, that someone has quoted something in 4 to 5 lines and I have to, if I want to cite that, I have to convert that into 1 line. So how will it be possible?
sure, see, so if somebody has written this thing, so that is the art and science of paraphrasing. So what you need to do is, you keep on reading, you keep on reading, you keep on reading. Okay. And never ever use the same thing which they have used, or they, don't try to copy paste and modify the word. You read them and line in and write this thought in your word. You will be automatically reducing it.
Okay, ma'am. So I have to paraphrase that and cite the name of the author.
Yes, you have to paraphrase them. You cannot take the same thing, and taking their line and changing the synonyms is not a good idea. It that it will not achieve your objective. What you need to do is you read them and then express it in your own words.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Welcome. So you must have seen both this type of citation in any research paper. Have you seen? Okay, so there are two methods used for citing a work. One is called integral citing and another is non-integral citing. So what is the integral citing? In an integral citing, a name of the author will be a part of the sentence. So for example, the first is the example of an integral citation. Lilly's, into the bracket here, that is 2000 word, argues that both teacher and student often lack explicit knowledge of the convention governing the construction of academic text. So over here, Lilly herself is a part of the statement. And if we see, yes, for paraphrasing also you have to use in-text citation because you are representing someone else's thought in your word. So, and the second example is of non-integral cite. So that is both teacher and student often lack explicit knowledge of convention governing the construction of academic text. Lilly's 2001. So the name of the author is not part of the sentence. It is called non-integral citation. And a researcher should use both and have to know that when to use, integral citation and when to use non-integral citation. So for example, if you want to quote an author and say that according to so and so, so if you want to say according to Parsuram, this is service quality. So when you say according to, then the author has to be a part of sentence. So integral citation works. And when you want to focus on the statement but not the author, at that time integral, non-integral citation will work good. Now how to judge? As a researcher, how to judge? So for example, if you are quoting someone where your author is so much important. So, let me give you a funny example that, if you want the change, bring the change. Okay. There is a statement called, if you want the change, bring the change, So this statement given by Gandhiji becomes the quote. But if the same statement, is given by bus conductor, will it be a quote? Huh? He'll be telling it in a daily life that if you want to change, out of money, you should bring your own change. So if the author is a reputed one, if an author is someone, who has done a substantial work in that field, and if you want to quote them, it is a good idea to make the author important. Okay, so over here, Lilly argue. Okay, so Lilly is important. Who argues? Lilly argues. Over here, the statement is important. Both the teacher and student often like, we don't know who is Lily, because hardly few people will read the citation. Okay. So when you want to highlight author more than the statement, you use integral part. If you want to highlight statement more than the author, use non-integral citation. Okay. So is it clear? Was it useful to you? Knowing integral and non-integral citation and when to use it?
Yes, ma'am.
So now, coming to the next topic, that how to present LR in a thesis, paper and PPT, because all these three segments are different. They have a different demand and a different objective. There are some chats. Let me read it, Okay, you are just agreeing. So let us go one by one. So let us first discuss how to write. Yes. Okay, so let us first discuss how to write or how to present your literature review in a thesis, then go on a paper and then come on a PPT, that how you present your literature review on a PPT. So for example, when we are writing it, literature review on a thesis, we are more detail oriented. Okay, and we will be discussing authors and their work in little more detail. So for example, that is taken from one of the cases, or that Kannadasan in 2015 did some research, and he used this instrument, he did the research there, this was the independent variable, this was the dependent variable, and then we are coming what was the conclusion he did. So we are discussing his research in a detail. Okay. Then we go to other paper, somebody quoted me in their thesis, so I just taken that also. Okay, so we take each author, we try to write them, and then we try to join them. So we are more detail specific, author specific in a literature review when we are writing for a thesis, because there we have a liberty to fill the pages, isn't it? We write, how many pages do you write for literature review? And somewhere, people say, and people talk also, I have written 50 pages LR. Somebody say, oh, I have written 80 pages in my LR. So you have freedom there to express your view in detail. But talk about a research paper. Do you have the freedom? You don't have the freedom. You have to complete your entire research paper in 5,000 words. So which is, approximately 10 pages, including introduction, LR, research methodology, your analysis, discussion, conclusion, and references. So does it mean that you will quote only few authors? No, because how many reference you have used will be determining your rigor and quality. So there we write literature review in a different format, where we try to write the crux of what all are saying. We read all, and then we write that what all of them are saying, that in one sentence we quote all of them. So let me read one for you, that we are writing a literature review para for a relationship between gender and financial risk tolerance. So it is stereotyped that women are more risk averse than men. So this is what a general literature is telling. Then I have written that Benjamin, Johanna, Fairduda, Pfaff. So these are all 11, 12 people says that, or confirms this stereotype, that women are more risk averse than men. So we have just written two statements, but we have got 12 to 15 authors. So these all are saying the same thing. So no need to write pages and pages on them. Whereas Emery and Fox and Grabel, they says that gender is not significant in determining the financial risk tolerance. So we have put our argument from 20 research paper only in 3 to 4 lines. So that is how the research paper literature review should be. If you read the another line, then also you'll find the same thing. Okay, so are you getting me? How the thesis literature review and research paper literature review are significantly different, and how they should be written. Okay. Okay, it should not be like that. In literature review of paper, we have only few options. So we will write only 5 papers or 10 papers. No, you should not curtail on the number of research paper you have referred. You should curtail, you should do some little hard work in writing a literature review, so that you read the paper, you derive the crux out of it, and then you format it, that who all are agreeing, who all are disagreeing. Any question on this? So we should go ahead then. Okay. Then how to present your literature review and thesis? Sorry, in our PPT. Okay. So most of time you have seen like this. Okay, that we put some important points. So are you also using the same method? You can reply in a chat box. Okay. Are you also using the same type of method for preparing the LR, or are you using some different methods? Because if you are presenting for your thesis, if you are presenting your LR in a conference, there must be a LR portion, isn't it? So how are you doing it? Are you using the same type of methods? Okay. So this is a PPT by somebody else. Again, they have taken this. Okay. There's a question that for a research paper, approximately how many reference we can use. See, there is no maximum or minimum. There is no maximum criteria. You can, but take a minimum. Okay, that for if you would like to publish it in a very good quality journal, then your research paper must have minimum 50 references of good high quality research paper. Yes, Harish, is different than, which method you are using, if you can help us understanding. So, most of the time you have seen, you will agree that this is the method people use, but I don't advocate this method. Okay, this method is a boring and, it, over here, how many slides you'll prepare? If you have prepared or if you have reviewed 50 research paper, in one slide, 3 research or 3, LR comes. So how many slides you will be speaking, or how many minutes you'll be taking for, speaking about your literature review. So instead of this, I advocate a very different method. I don't know whether you have used it in past or not, but I'm sure you'll like it. And, I'll advocate using this method as well. Represent your LR into a table-based view where, you write the variables, your independent variables, then you say, what are the authors which are telling that this variable of your studies is significant? Who are saying that it is insignificant? If there are more than one view, so for example, in a marital status, over here, I have 2 views, that single investor take more risk. So these are all the people, they say that single investor take the more risk. Over here, married investor take the more risk. These are the people, they say this. Nobody is there who says that it is insignificant. I'll write this. Then age. In age, I have 3 type of literature. People saying that negative correlation between age and risk. People saying a positive correlation between age and risk. People saying linear relationship. And there's one author who says that it is a non-significant. So can you count more than 30, 40 research we are, quoting over here, and we need not to read any of the name. We just need to read this, that in a marital status, there are 2 type of relationship found. Single investor takes more risk, married investor takes more risk. The, person who is viewing your PPT will know that, okay, these are the authors. Then you can say that in age, there are 3 type of relationship found: negative correlation, positive correlation, and non-linear correlation. So this is the way you can use. However, this is little, this require little hard work. You need to, do little hard work. But believe me, if you will use this kind of PPT, literature review in PPT, they'll appreciate you and they'll get the idea that, okay, you have read substantial literature. Okay, so how did you find this method? So I'll advocate you to use this method, And this is a little secret where, I have got appreciation for all my research work because of some different method and presenting the work in a different way. So this is the way you can use or prepare or present your LR in your PPTs. So now on a concluding note, your LR or a good LR should have established terms and context. That means it should be telling what you want to convey to the people. It should present a detailed survey of the past literature. It should also talk about who have tried to solve the problem and how they were seemingly on a same line, how they were different. You need to, as I talked on the starting as well, you don't need to write individual LI. You need to generalize it. You need to give an idea that, all these are moving on this line. You need to establish a clear gap and inadequacies, which requires research from your side. The gap should be clearly mentioned. If you don't do a scholarly rigor, why they'll be giving you degree, isn't it? So that is why a literature review should be a rigorous, which ask a journal or which force a journal to publish your research paper, or convey the research committee to give you a PhD degree. And these are some of the sources which you can use. Google Scholar, and this is something interesting. Let me put it in a chat box so that you have this all with you. So this is a list which will giving you and this is a link from where you can find out how many academic database and search engines are there. So there are many search engines which are specifically built for searching academic stuff. So you can use it to get your research database, Then DOAJ is a open journal source. So you'll get all these papers published over there at free of cost. Okay, that ORG, is a thesis reservoir for all the foreign country project reports. So you can get to know about what the foreign countries are doing and how they are preparing their PhD thesis. Okay, it should be taken care that I'm not advocating that you go there and copy paste there. I'm advocating if you would like to see that how the foreign research are conducted and what are the methodologies they are using, you can use this to see it. Sodhganga, that this is a Indian repository of a research, and there is a very fantastic website called Journal Seek. So for example, let us say you are doing something in forensic science, but you are not able to find out that how many journals are there which are on forensic science where you can send your research work. So you can at that time use this Journal Seek, and where you can type your keyword and they will help you find out that how many journals are there on your title, your topic. So any query on literature review, we are done with the training of literature review, and in the past, we have still 40 minutes, and at that time, I'd like to talk about how to do referencing using Mendeley. So if you have any question, if you want to express anything for literature review, you can do this now. And the references which are used to prepare this material is, the Randolph Guide for Literature Review, Cooper's, Taxonomy, and this was the internet resource which I use. Plus, I have used my 10 years of research experience to prepare this. And these are my contact details. Feel free to connect to me for any of your queries. I'm putting my details in the chat box. And in future, if you need any guidance or help, feel free to connect to me. This is my email ID. This is my mobile number. This is my LinkedIn ID. Okay, and I am open to feedback from your side, be it a good or be it a bad. I'll take all the feedback as a gift, because if a good feedback will motivate me and a bad feedback will give me a pointers to improve myself. Okay, so if you'd like to discuss anything for literature review, I'm open. We can discuss, and then we'll shift after 2-3 minutes. We'll shift to Mendeley. Okay, so let me stop my screen sharing. And you can ask a question if you have. You can unmute, please, and ask if you have any.
Thank you, ma'am. First of all, it was really a lovely session.
Yes. Yeah, we have halfway to go. We have to still discuss the Mendeley software.
Yeah.
We are done with the literature review. So if they have any query, I should answer this, first.
Any query you can ask to Dr. Hina? Yes, Harishji, please, you can ask. You have unmuted yourself.
Thank you, Dr. Hina, madam. Really, we had wonderful session. Madam, I have one question. At the time of preparing the reviews chapter, especially for thesis, do we have any standard how many reviews to be needed for anything else?
No, there is no maximum to minimum number, sir. It should be done on a basis that, as I say, that what type of thesis you want to develop, it depends on that. And it depends on what is the work done in your area. If your area is too much explored and you find 1,000 papers, then at least recent 10% to 15% you must quote.
Okay.
Okay, but if your area is very new and only 50 papers are done, okay, so does it mean that, and if you quote all this 50, does it mean that you have not done LR in a good way? You have done 100% LR. Okay, so this is a very qualitative answer, or it is situational answer to give. But if you would ask me a number, so rather than giving a number, I'll say that you go for a major work in your area. So all those people who have done path-breaking research in your area, you must include them. Plus, you must include latest 10 years research in your thesis. Okay, because the old papers are old. A new research has been done. So what will give you research gap? The recent research paper, not the older one. So you should take the central and pivotal research from the old, that is a path-breaking research, and you should try to quote most of all new research in your area. So I hope I'm answering to your query now.
Yes, madam. Thank you so much, madam.
Yeah, any more question? Any other question? I think, ma'am.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, they have no question to ask.
We can then move. Okay.
Yeah, we can move.
So the next we are going to discuss is thank you, ma'am. Okay. So the next is we are talking on, because there are many paid software for referencing, but we should thank Elsevier, those, especially country like India, where we do not have so much research infrastructure with universities and all, they have developed a software called Mendeley, which is free and which always will be free. That is how they are claiming, that is free and always will be. So to do referencing, and referencing is a key part. If you are doing it manually, you might forget it, you might not be able to do it correctly, because there are so many citation methods, and every citation method is slightly different than other. If you have submitted paper, you have developed a manual referencing. Now if you need to change it, you have to do all rework. Again, sometime when I was not aware of this Mendeley software or a magical software, I need more time to do referencing rather than writing a research paper. So because accurate reference is a need of an hour. A good journal will reject a paper if you do not have done a good referencing also. So Mendeley is a software which is free, so you can use it. So what you first need to do is you need to write Mendeley in your Google. See, currently we are not going to have a hands-on experience session because otherwise the Mendeley software itself takes 3 hours. But it is very easy, and I'll be demonstrating to you how you can do it. So before using a Mendeley software, you must create your account with Mendeley. Okay, so first, and if you have a Elsevier account, it will work. You need not to create because Mendeley is by Elsevier group. So if you have Elsevier account, you can use it. Otherwise, you can write Mendeley. This kind of web page will open this Mendeley discovery, and you can go on to create website, and you can create your account. So the moment you'll click, they'll ask that you write an email. You want to continue with a Mendeley. So you can put an email address which you would like to, do it. So I was having my Mendeley account since long. So for you, what I have done is I have prepared a demo account and taken all the screenshots so that you are aware. And then they'll ask you to register yourself. So you can just put your email ID. You can give your name, your family name, and a password which you want to. Okay. And then you can have the option that you want to stay signed in or you want to get signed it out. I be signed in because I use it frequently, but it's up to you. If you don't want to be signed in, you can be signed out as well. Okay, you put all this detail and then click on registered. The moment you will click on register is less than a minute process. They will say that check your inbox for confirmation. And if you'll open your email, you must have received an email which asks you to confirm that this is your personal email through which you have registered on Mendeley. So you just click on confirm and it will say that your email is confirmed and now you can use Mendeley. So now what is the next step after creating a account? Okay. So what you need to first do is you need to download Mendeley and then you need to install. So you can click or you can write in a Google, download Mendeley desktop. So when you write this, okay, I have performed this and taken screenshots so that you are aware. So you just write this and the first search will open, which will be download Mendeley desktop. So you click there. And this PPT, I'm going to share it with you definitely, so that if you miss any step, you can see it. And then you'll be redirected to this screen where it will be written download Mendeley desktop for Windows. Okay. So there are 3 options. If you are using Windows, you can directly click on download. If you are using MacBook, you can click on MacBook and then download. If you are using Linux, click on Linux and then download. The process is same because majority of the audience use Windows, so it is by default mode. But if you want to get it Mendeley for a Mac system or Linux, you can click on the relative field and you can download it. And then the moment you download it and click, it will start installing and it will take, you just agree to the terms and conditions. Okay. It will take less than 1 minute to download. Okay. So then it will say finish. It has been downloaded. And once it is downloaded, this Mendeley software screen will open where you have to put your email and password which you created on Elsevier website. You have your email ID, you have your password. So again, over here also you have option to stay signed in and sign out. I advocate staying signed in because there is nothing bank details, so nobody is going to steal you from the Mendeley. But you can, start using anytime. If you will, sign it out, then every time whenever you have to use it, you have to sign in. And there is cumbersome process. So I don't do it. I, stay standing in my Mendeley so that whenever I want, I can start referencing. So the moment you will enter, the first message will come that reference manager installed, citation plugin installed. Now you have to check that this both should be installed. Okay. So if over here it says that citation plugin is not installed, if this is not green, you can click on that. There will be a click option. Click on it and you can install it. 99% it is installed, but in what condition it will not install? If your Word is already open. Okay, at that time it will not install. You have to manually install it, because you have to close the Word and Excel or Outlook if anything is running to install this plugin. Okay. So make sure when you are downloading and working on a Mendeley for the first time, you close the Word so that it is automatically installed. And whether it is successfully installed or not, to check this, you need to go on your Word and click on reference. Okay. If Mendeley Word plugin is successfully installed, in a reference, you could be able to see insert citation Mendeley logo. So, do citation using Mendeley. This is how the installation process work. It is very easy, and I'll give you the PPT as well so that you can use it. I'll if needed, I will give you a few video links as well so that you can download it. And that is how the Mendeley looks. So now, without wasting much of the time, let us directly go on a software and let me make you aware that how to use it. So I have installed my software Mendeley. So this is there. If you click on this, if you are logged in, if you are logging it out every time, it will ask you to log in. But if you are being online all the time or logged in, then it won't ask you. It will, directly start. So over here, there's a file menu. So, from where Mendeley will do citation. So you have to add the files. So you can go to file menu for adding the files. So you can add all the files of your research papers there, and Mendeley will create the citation. So for example, let me go to this. So these are the files I would like to add. So I can select as many files I would like to add, and I can just say open, and the files will be added. You can add entire folder as well, so you have all your research paper in your folder. So you can go to the specific folder and you can add this. Okay. So any software, any, for folder where your research papers are there, you select the folder and say, okay, all this research paper will be added to your Mendeley library. Okay. So see, these are the papers which I have added. Some of the only reference I have added. So if the papers are added, you can open it in a Mendeley and you can directly see. There is no need for you to go anywhere else also for reading your paper. You can read in your Mendeley library itself. Clear? So these are the papers which I have added. Entire PDF I have added to the Mendeley. So then they are in my Mendeley library. I can read directly. I can highlight if I want to highlight something, and this will always be saved a highlighted version. So next time when you go for same paper, you can see highlight. You can prepare a note as well, that what you want to write for this paper. Watch folder, that means you can see how many folders are there, but there's no need to add as of now. So I'll not do this. Then add entry manually. Now, if you have read some newspaper, okay, you want to quote some local newspaper for your research because you are doing some research which is specific to your area. For example, let us say somebody is doing something on Tamil Nadu, and it is published in a local newspaper of Tamil Nadu, which has no internet source available. Then in that case, you can edit manually as well, that what kind of article it is. So you want to quote newspaper article, then write down the title, authors, everywhere. If you read something in a journal article itself, but it was a old copy and you didn't find any internet, so then you click on journal article and then you add the details over here. Manually you can type whatever it is, you just type it. There's no need to pass the abstract, if you don't want it. Okay, if there is a URL, you can put it. Okay, if there is a DOI, you can put it. If you are using APA 7, you must need a DOI. But if it is a physical form, there won't be any DOI, so you can then just don't edit, but you can manually fill all the detail. It's just like typing, whatever detail you have to put, you can put it looking at the source. But in this digital era, most of the time you get 99%, you get it electronically. Only 1% you need to add manually. And if they are very awkward sources like some books or some, for example, if you are doing some research on Vedas, then Vedas do not have their, availability there. So in that case, you are referring some Upanishad and all, you have to do a manual entry. Otherwise, most of the things are available. Now you don't want to add a file, you don't want to add a folder, you just directly want to add citation. Okay, so in that case, you have your Google Scholar. Let me go to Google Scholar. So let me show you how directly. So for example, let us say I have read this paper called Behavioral Bias and Investment Decision Making, a Systematic Literature Review. And I have my note prepared that what I want to quote from that paper, but I am not having this paper in hard copy with me. Okay. So then, can you see this inverted comma site? You can click there and yes, Priyanka, ask your question, please.
Yeah, Priyanka ji, you can unmute. You can unmute, you can ask. Yeah. Please ask.
Good evening, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, can you repeat how to edit the words in Mendeley?
Okay, how to add manually?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Because I'm facing problem.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, if you already have the, newspaper source with you, but you don't have it on online, you can add the entry manually. So click on File, Add Manual Entry, and then, if you want, you can just drag this also so that it becomes a little larger and you can enter. So first you select what is a type of source which you want to add manually, because there's a different method to cite the journal article, there's a different method to cite book paper, there's a different method to cite case. So you have to be very specific what kind of source you want to add. So for example, if you want to add newspaper article, we like add newspaper article, then I say that I have read today is a water day. I am doing some my research on water, and I have the article on water crisis something. I want to add it. In newspaper, generally there is no author available. If it's a news, then I will not write any author name. Then a publication, So in a publication, I'll write the group which is publication. In a year, you'll write 2022. Okay. Pages, you'll write on which page you read that article, And then you'll write which city edition it was, because in newspaper there are city edition as well. Okay, what was the day? So it was a 6th Wednesday, or 22nd Tuesday. What was the month in which you read? If it is URL is available, you write this. Okay, if you want to attach the newspaper article, you do it and then save it. That is how for every entry you can edit manually if needed. And if it is already entered one, and if you want to change, then also you can do it using this. Can you see? If you want
Yes,
to,
ma'am.
then also you can change it. If there are some missing information, you have downloaded the reference, but it is not 100% complete. There is a DOI missing and you have DOI, you want to enter it. There is ISSN missing, you want to enter it. There is some year issue. Sometimes it happens that, some article comes online first and then the print version comes. So Mendeley might have done some mistake. So you want to correct it, then you can manually do wherever you want,
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, can we also use for the bibliography link? Can we create the library for the if we search the link?
Exactly what you want to say, dear?
Ma'am, can we prepare the my library in bibliography links?
Yes, there is a my. See, this is my library, and
Yes, ma'am.
these are all the folders which I have created.
Okay.
And see, there is also a different way. So if you want to see what library, if you want to see what document, that is
Okay,
also
ma'am.
can be done. And in a view mode, you can see library also. The library as a table. So in this library as a table, the authors will come here, titles will come here, year in which they published will come here, who, where it was published in, and when it was added, everything will be come.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
But if you want to, sometime what happens that, for example, see, that is what is a HINA publication. So what I
Yes,
do
ma'am.
is, whenever I publish something, I add it to my Mendeley library. Now, whenever I want to update my resume, what I just need to do, okay, I say citation style. So I use American Psychological 7th edition. Okay, and I see that I want to see library as a citation. So all my research work has been, I'm now coming as a citation. So what I'll just do is, whenever somebody asks for my citation or my research work, I go to my Mendeley, I copy it and I paste it. Isn't it amazing and easy?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am. It's very informative.
So if you are working on 10 research paper, you create a folder for everything. And whenever you want citation for them, sometimes you just need to give someone that this is the literature I want to read, or you want to instruct if you are on a higher position, you must be having a research associates. So I want to give the list to my research associate that you need to use these papers for developing this work, So I can just copy paste and give it to him that you please refer these papers. Okay. So that is how.
Thank you, ma'am.
Clear. So this is a basic of Mendeley, that how you can add the research there. Now we were on how to directly add. Okay. So this is the research paper, that is behavioral bias, which I read somewhere in a hard copy. I don't have the link. But I have prepared my note that from this paper I would like to quote these 3 lines. Okay. But I don't have the source PDF copy so that I can add. Neither I don't want to, do manual typing. Then you have an easy option. You go on a Scholar, you click on a site and, download BibTeX, EndNote or RefMan. All these 3 extensions are, acceptable by Mendeley. My site or my research engine is not, my search engine is not allowing me to do it, but you can just click on it and can find out from site. You can download it, BibTeX, EndNote, RefMan, and it will be downloaded. And any version which you have, you just do it and edit. You have anything, do it and edit. Let me check if I have any already ready. I must be having RSI files in my research folders. So give me a second. Let me, go to my research. Yes. Might have added all and deleted. No, I don't have RSI file. Let me, try it again and show you how you can do it. Let me go to Google Scholar and let me, click on RefMan file, reload. Okay, I don't know. Currently, it is not working, but if you, just try it, it will be downloaded as a small file and which you can then import. Give me a second. Let me, change my network if that allows me to download. Okay. For a second, there will be a lag in network. Okay. Yes. Am I audible?
Yes, madam,
Yes,
you are
ma'am.
audible.
Yeah, because I have changed my network to show you that how it is working. So let me. So I like more RSI file, RIS file. So you just click on this refman RIS file will be downloaded. Let me save it on desktop. Okay, and by default the name will be scholar. If you want to give any specific name, you need to give. Okay, it will be, if you download 10, it will be scholar 1, scholar 2, scholar 3, like. So I have downloaded this file. Now I want to add this file. So which file I have downloaded? RIS file. I'll click on it. I'll go to my desktop. Can you see Scholar RIS file? And the entire citation came. Could you see this? Okay.
Yes, madam, it is visible.
So without doing anything, without downloading much, as you just can directly, download the source, how to cite. These are BibTeX and not an RIS. These are the citation format. You can download any and use it with Mendeley. Okay. So this is all adding our citations. Now, how actually citing this work? So for example, you write anything, I write that, okay, females are less risk takers. I have written this statement and now I would like to state or, cite the authors or researcher who have told this. I want to cite it using Mendeley. I'll go to reference and I can see the Mendeley over here. I'll say insert citation. Okay, but before doing this, you can also see what citation style you want to use. I want to use American 7th edition, so I'll click on it. These are the sites which are, by default installed. If you want any more, you can go on to more site. Okay, so these are all the installed. Get more site, you can, then search whatever are there and it will come. Or I can use OER as well. Just a minute. Okay. Style search field, network access is disabled. As I said that, I am on my institute and I have little, network issues over here. So there are something is disabled, but if you search, you'll be getting it and then you just edit. It's so easy. There's no rocket science over here. Okay. But first you select, and in management research, most of the time we are now using American Psychological, Association 7th. So I first need to tell whatever style you need, you go to more style and edit. Okay. So let us say it is installed. If I say use this style, they will use this style. Vancouver style, if you say this, they'll use this style. So this is how you can first define. But I want to use American Psychological Association 7th. So I have preferred it. Now I'll go to insert citation. And to whom I want to quote, you have read the paper. So for example, I want to use Grabel. And this was the paper, for example, So I'll just select it and I'll say, okay. The moment I'll say, okay, they will edit. If I want to add more than one at the same time, now I read some other author and he's also saying the same thing, and I want to add along with Grabel, I don't want to add new citation. I just go and say edit citation. Now I have, I have read Hannah and she is also saying on the same line. So I would like to add Hannah along with Grabel. I'll just say okay. Clear. So you can add citation like this. Now, if you want to change the style after writing it, then also just select over here and it will change. Can you see? So now I have submitted to one journal which was saying American Psychological Association, but my paper got rejected. Now I want to, submit it to other journal, and other journal is saying me that use Chicago style. Okay, so the moment I click on Chicago, the entire referencing will be converted into Chicago style. So, and this is so easy. And after citing everything, now at the end, you need to insert bibliography. Just click on insert bibliography. Everything will be alphabetically ordered, sorted. So that is how you can use Mendeley software for doing it. Now, how to do integral and non-integral citation, which we were talking about. Okay. So Mendeley or any software, any reference software in the world, they are not designed for integral citation. They are all designed for non-integral citation only. So first, the citation will be generated in non-integral, means in the bracket form only. And my advice to you is that first, prepare your master citation in non-integral site only. Then save as, and then, on other file, try to, change your integral and non-integral. Why? Because the moment you change the integral and non-integral, and if you then in future change the writing methodology, this will not be taken care. So first you do everything in a non-integral way only, and then whenever needed, you can edit as necessary. And how to then convert them? Just click on this, and in a non-integral side, everything is together, but in an integral, the author name is a part of sentence and the year is in bracket. Same way for this also. And the moment you will say, they will ask you that keep manual editing. You have edited it manually. And you say yes. So from non-integral, we have changed the citation to integral now. Clear? So that is what was all about how to cite using Mendeley. A basic version. There are many advanced versions. We have an entire day training on Mendeley. But this is what a very basic that even a newbie can start referencing like a pro by learning this for 15-20 minutes. So on this note, I conclude how to cite using Mendeley. If you have any particular question, query, I'm open to that. And specifically, I'd like to hear from you your feedback, your critique. Yes, Priyanka, you can unmute yourself and
Good evening, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, I have just started using Mendeley,
Yes.
and facing problem in combining the bibliography. For example, just say I have prepared a separate chapter for introduction, and there I have 15 to 20 references. And in the chapter of literature review, I have 30-35 references. Ma'am, now I want to mix both these references, then how I have to do this?
Have you prepared both the file on Mendeley?
Yes, ma'am. I have prepared till now only literature review, but I am working on introduction. But I was confused that how to mix this.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Now listen to me carefully. First, you prepare all your files.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. And use Mendeley there.
Yes, ma'am.
After you, do all this.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. Merge the files.
Ma'am, where is that merge? In Mendeley?
No. In Word. You can use Word for merging the chapters, no?
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
Yeah, let me show you where it is, is in a, you go to insert.
Priyanka ji, please start your video also, because it is the basic rule of our
Yes.
event. If you want to ask some question, you have to start your video.
Okay. So let me show you, in your Word, you have to check which version you are using. There might be little bit format changes in 365. You go to insert tab in your Word and you can see this symbol where, text from file. So you select this option, and if you want to add 10 chapter, 15 chapter, just select them and say insert. They all will be insert and they'll be merged.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
And then again run the bibliography. Don't run separate bibliography. Run the bibliography at one go, and everything will be merged. And if you want to have a separate bibliography, for everything, then you have to, do section breaks.
Ma'am, actually, I was feeling, I have just started using Mendeley. Now, I was not so much comfortable by using that application. I have just started, ma'am. So for not being confused or taking it easy, I have prepared separate chapters.
So fine, yes, but you merge them, and then at the end, you need to have a reference at the end, of entire thesis. So you add them, you merge them, and at the end, you give a command, insert bibliography, it will create.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes.
Yes, Mehta sir, please. Please unmute, sir. Mehta sir wants to ask something to Hina ma'am.
A question from my side also, Hinaji.
Yes.
There is a language option available in this Mendeley. Suppose if the researcher is from Hindi belt, particularly in northern India, Madhya Pradesh, Rajasthan, or suppose if he or she is doing research in, suppose in literature, Hindi literature. So whether the language,
if it is on Google or if it can be done, added, there is a language option comes for adding.
Okay. So options are available. Fine, thank you.
Okay.
Is there any other question? Actually, Hina ma'am, I must say, what can I say about today's, today's presentation? It was really, really wonderful. It was totally hands-on workshop, and in 2 hours, I think you gave everything to participants to learn everything. I mean, really, I really appreciate today's session. They have learned so many things. Even I have learned how to cite, because I was also facing some problem in citations. Some problems are cleared. Some of the queries are cleared.
Yes. So I would, then sir, at the end, generally this is our practice of our form, that we get the feedback. So, I'll be more than happy to get the feedback from the participants,
Yeah, no problem. You can
scan this QR code and a feedback form will open. You can, scan this.
Yeah, you can send me your scan code. I will send them. There is no problem.
Or they can do it real time as well. It will take a minute.
Yeah, no problem. I will send them.
Questions only.
Yeah.
The question is not so long. There are only 3 questions.
I will send them. Any other questions if participant wants to ask?
Yeah, I'm open to,
Ma'am is totally open to solve your queries.
And I have given all my details as well. You can contact to me there.
And ma'am will share some of the important points with me in the form of PDF. I will share with you. It was really a nice session. And before inviting Professor Mehta sir for vote of thanks, I would like to request you all to please open your videos so that we can take some screenshots today also. So Mehta sir,
yeah, I think
our Vice President, Inspira Research Association, I would like to invite respected Professor Mehta sir to say vote of thanks for today's session. Sir.
Thank you, Dr. Ravi.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. Hina, indeed, it was a very insightful, very informative, very useful session for all the young researchers. You have covered each and every aspect so extensively that there is hardly anything left. In the first part, you talked at length about the literature review. In fact, we did our research long back, and now today I'm realizing that how many lapses were there when we did our doctoral work. I'm quite sure if the researchers follow the tips and the useful guidance provided by you, they can always prepare a wonderful chapter on literature review. And very rightly explained by you that if literature review is done properly, then it will be helpful virtually in all the other chapters also, whether it is the data analysis or whether it is the results or conclusions, and particularly choosing of the statistical tools. So I'm quite sure that all the researchers who are attending this workshop, for them, this session was extremely useful. Moreover, Inspira is, of course, providing all these very useful lectures on YouTube also. Certainly, your lecture will act as a reference for future reference. So there are so many aspects that you covered that can act as a reference, and I'm quite sure that the researchers will not only watch your this presentation only once, but from time to time, because it will be quite refreshing for them if they watch and listen you very carefully. In the second part of your presentation on Mendeley, again, it is quite helpful for the researchers to cite and to give the references, whether it is a PhD thesis or writing a research paper. So the tips that you have given in the form of literature review and this referencing and citing through Mendeley, if researchers follow and keep themselves quite acquainted with all these, I'm quite sure that there will be a bright possibility to get their articles published in Scopus Index or IBDC journals, no doubt about it, because reviewers also are very particular about all these aspects. We are indeed very grateful to you for your very good presentation on this forum of Inspira. And we are looking forward from you to associate with us, because Inspira is a forum where we provide academicians and eminent experts like you to serve the research scholars. In fact, just please take this this association and guiding the students on the forum of Inspira as your social responsibility. We all are associated, whether it is Professor S.S. Modi or Dr. Ravi Modi or myself. We want to serve the research scholars. So our association is providing a very good forum, because you know that our participants are connected from every corner of the country and many times from abroad also. So we are eagerly looking forward for many more lectures, and certainly it will be great social responsibility and particularly the service to our research scholars. So on behalf of Inspira Association, I extend a hearty vote of thanks to you. I'm thankful to our young, energetic, and very bright and dynamic Secretary General, Dr. Ravi Modi, for setting the programs well, and it's all his hard work and commitment that we could organize such workshops, seminars, and conferences. Last and not least, we are thankful to our collaborator also for this wonderful collaboration. And last and not least, I'm thankful personally to Professor S.S. Modi, also our patron, our mentor, our leader, for always motivating us for organizing such workshops. Once again, thank you very much. Over to Dr. Abhinay.
Thank you so much, Professor Mehta, sir. Thank you so much for your wonderful words, for your motivational words. And sir, actually, we all are working as a team. And once again, I would like to thank our today's eminent resource person, Professor Hina Thanki ma'am, and all the learned participants and our collaborator, KG College. And as far as the video is concerned, recorded video is concerned, we will surely, share the recorded videos very soon, because we have to make some addition in this in the recorded video. So we will send you after the workshop ends or before also, if the video is ready. So don't worry about the recorded video. We will surely share with you.
The participants are asking for, Excel tables. So
yeah, ma'am, you can share with me. I will send them. I will send them in the group. I have already made.
Give me a day's time, so I'll be reaching for home currently, and then I'll be sharing by evening, by late evening, I'll be sharing it.
No problem. And participants, we are planning to do some more workshops on the different topics. And in the month of April, we are going to hold a 2 days international conference also. We will announce the topic very soon. So you can prepare and you can present your paper also in this workshop, in this conference. So thank you so much once again to all of you. Thanks to Professor Mehta sir, Dr. Hina Thanki, all the participants, KG College, Principal ma'am. Thank you so much. Thank you. We will meet tomorrow at the same time on the third day of this Faculty Development Program cum workshop.